I think we're just looking forward to competing in Bogle again. Really proud of the team for working us into a national seed and having the ability to stay home as long as we play for it. And just feel like we're in a really good spot. I think we have a tough field. I think we're tough too. And so it'll be a really fun weekend. And we also had a lot to celebrate this morning. We had 8 all-region players. So I want to congratulate our players on that.
All right, we'll take questions for student athletes. Raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you.
Ben, do you have a question?
Jacob's got one back there.
KB and Danielle, obviously a stacked 4 teams going on, but I don't think anyone's really looking at Princeton. How do you make sure you don't overlook them, that you're not thinking ahead to Saturday or Sunday, you just take care of business tomorrow?
Well, I think our motto and our kind of goal all year is to stay really present. And I think this is another test to us to stay really present. And so right now we're just really stressing about Princeton, with film and stuff. Obviously, we're kind of looking ahead just so that we're prepared. But if we stay present, we're going to be just very well set. So.
Yeah, and going off of what Gibby said, I know we have 3 possible matchups this weekend, so it is important to focus on Friday, but it also helps if you do watch film on the other teams a little bit as well. But our main focus is Friday, and we've done a really good job, like Gibby said, staying present in who we're playing and not jumping too far ahead.
And then just what are the feelings going into tomorrow? Is it a nervousness, more of an excitement? Just what are you guys feeling right now?
I'm ready to play now. I want to play now. I've been wanting to play since Monday on our off day.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had to wait till Friday to play, so I'm excited. I know that the team is excited. Everyone's just kind of ready to play, and it really doesn't matter who we're playing. I think that we went into the selection show just like eager to see what we were seeded, and that was it. Like obviously we want to see our competition, but it doesn't really matter. We're really excited to go out there and compete in Bogle.
I remember before the Florida series in the regular season, you talked about wanting to prove that last season wasn't a fluke in your SEC play. So how do you feel about what you guys were able to do, and then how does that translate to now your NCAA tournament goals?
Gosh, this year has been fun. Last year obviously was fun, but I think this year being able to do what we did is just icing on the cake for the program to come, and building something that's way bigger than just an SEC title this year. I think that this team, we fought really hard to get where we're at, especially in the fall. And so I look back and this past week, I'm looking back on all the stuff that we kind of struggled with or kind of had some team, miscommunications in the fall, and I just wouldn't have it any other way. I have loved everything that we've been tested with, and I think that it's just prepped us for the postseason to be really confident. So I'm really excited for us and all that we've done.
Courtney.
This is for both players, but I was kind of listening to what you guys were talking about during practice, and it always stays fun. It's serious but fun. Do you think that's kind of an attitude that you've had all season long, and especially now, you got to keep it a little bit light heading into regional play and things like that? I mean, is that kind of how you guys feel about this time, or what was kind of the vibe of today's practice?
I think we're always really going into practice having fun. I mean, I feel like if you take the game so seriously, it kind of affects the way you play. And I've learned throughout my college career, especially even in high school, that when I was too serious about the game is when I wasn't playing as well. And I mean, it's supposed to be fun. We played this as 4- and 5-year-olds because it was fun. So I think when you really dive back into your little 5-year-old self with pink cleats on, that's what's important about this game, is remembering why you play, and you played because it was fun.
Yeah, personally, I feel like I'm having the career in the season that I'm having because I'm having fun. And it's funny because even some days where I feel like I'm not performing to my capability.
He's laughing at me?
No, my stomach's growling.
Oh. Anyways.
Really loudly, sorry.
I was like, did I say
No,
something
I think
bad?
you're doing great. I'm sorry.
Anyways, I feel like I'm having the season that I'm having because of the fun that I'm having. And so even the days where I feel like I'm not performing at my top, I have an amazing coaching staff to remind me to remember to have fun. And it's cool to get texts from people who maybe I don't really talk to, and they just tell me like, man, you look like you're having so much fun on TV. And so I think that's what it's all about. And I wish I had more fun in my previous years, but you live and you learn. And I'm excited that I'm ending this last year with just having fun.
KB and Danielle, y'all said on Sunday that the number one thing you needed to go home and just, y'all didn't know a lot about Princeton. You needed to learn some more about them. What are some things that y'all have gleaned from, studying them and maybe some points of emphasis this week preparing for them?
I think it's just the same with every single team you face, even though in SEC play, like for me and Gibby both, we've faced a lot of these pitchers multiple times being in the SEC. But for a team you don't know, I think you really, I don't know, I might be different than Gibby, but I try not to watch too much film because then I get really into it and like I'll get in the box and think about what exactly they threw on film. So everyone's different, but I think we had to really dive into what their pitchers threw. And I'm not sure what our pitchers do. I'm sure they watch a lot of film too. But I know for us, we just watch film on their pitching and just kind of talk about that with Coach Yo. And we made sure we did that every single day, not only Princeton, but we watched the other two teams as well.
Yeah, it's a fresh start. I'm excited to play a new team. I'm excited to see us compete against a new team. And giving credit where credit's due. They're in the tournament for a reason, and kind of tipping our cap to what they've been able to do to get here, and then building on that of what are their strengths, how can we beat them, And I love to watch film. I love playing that game, the pitch sequence game. And so, it's going to be interesting, but I'm really excited for how they match up with us. So,
And following up on that, watching film on other teams and everything, how important is it to more focus on just yourselves and the team, what Arkansas brings to the table instead of other teams?
I think it's just knowing we're good. Like, we're not even just good, we're great. I think that's why it's been such a good year for all of us. We can really rely on each other. Like, if one of us isn't having a good day, or two, or even three, you have the whole rest of the lineup. That's just incredible. I think that's what's really special about this team, and our pitchers have our backs too on the offensive side of it. So that's I don't know, it's amazing how this lineup just really relies on each other.
yeah, I'll second that. But also, I think that you're seeing an experience in a very veteran group teach the young kids how to watch film. And I'm very, that's kind of what I'm most proud of myself this year, is being able to kind of bring Hannah Gamble, bring Spencer Prigge up to pace with what is kind of going to help them be successful. But also, you're seeing KB knows what she needs. I know what I need. She doesn't need to watch film a whole ton. I know I love to watch film. So it's we're able to see that, and the veteran mindset that we're able to have in trusting each other, I think is just it's really special to be around,
This is for both guys. I believe Princeton had about 3 homers in batting practice earlier today. You guys' first lineup, I think, hit 3 homers within the first couple of minutes and probably hit 40 throughout the entire day. It's a regular day at the office for you guys, or you guys just locked in at this time of the year?
regular day.
Are you sure they only hit 40?
I know.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
I was about to say, this is every day, probably more some other days.
Yeah.
Shanice Dels, I think I seen her with the bat today. Have you guys been helping her out in the batting practice?
She can swing it.
She can swing it on her own.
Yeah, Shanice is fun to watch. She's just
Fun.
Shanice.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Courtney. I'm okay with hustle.
Just one more question for you guys. We talked to Princeton earlier today, and they said something that I thought was pretty on brand, but also kind of exciting for you guys, is that they've never played in the history of their program in front of a crowd like you guys will on Friday night. I mean, how do you feel hearing something like that, especially with, all the fan support you guys have had throughout this crazy season?
I mean, I think it makes you look back and realize how blessed you are to be in a place like this, because we've been to a few different fields this year, that they don't have stands as big as ours, and they don't have that many fans as we have, and it's just really incredible where we do play. And I think it goes to show how big softball has gotten, and I think it's really special for the fifth-year seniors, or Taylor being a sixth-year. I feel like we've paved the way for a lot of these younger kids as well, just to see how big softball has grown. And I think that's what's so cool when I go back home, is to see all the little girls that play softball. So I think it's just special to look where you are and to be where your feet are, and just realize that not everybody has the opportunities that we have.
Amen.
All right, ladies, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm like, well, that was easy.
All right, they don't want to hear from you.
Okay, bye.
All right, we'll take questions for Coach
Just
Dyer.
leave me by myself.
Raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you. Somebody's got to hit lead off.
Otis.
Otis, go for it.
Me.
Go ahead, Otis.
Coach, how there's people on social media trying to find tickets for the game tomorrow. How exciting is that for you? I mean, you see that in football, you may see it in basketball, but now we're seeing it in softball. And just is that pretty exciting for you to know that people are still trying to find tickets?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think our crowds, our fans have been tremendous for us all year. It gets a little better as the weather gets better. But I mean, I'm just going to go off what they said. It's just an incredibly special place with a really special fan base. And the thing that is even more special about it is just an atmosphere that's all about the Razorbacks. It's not like cheering against the other team. It's just a really classy fan base that creates, I think, the best atmosphere in college softball. So I think this is the second year now that we've sold out our regional. And I am really, really excited for these teams to get to experience Bogle, a packed Bogle.
When you came here, did you, in your wildest imagination, think you'd turn around this fast?
Well, I hoped that we would. I definitely hoped we would. And honestly, one of the things we set out to do was win over the fan base. And so that's what's really cool coming from year 1 to year 7 is that we do feel like we've done that. We felt like if we gave them a product, we knew how fanatical, how loyal Razorback fans are, and we felt like if we gave them a product that they're proud of, they'd come out and follow us and support us, and they've done that, and then some. So it's been a really fun journey, and that was definitely something we focused on.
Coach, you've had several postseason teams in your time here, but every team's different. Just what are some things that make this team unique and different from other teams that you've had in the past?
Well, this team is very seasoned. They're very experienced. We don't have to get their feet wet with postseason experience. They've all been there, and except I think some of our freshmen that our veterans have done a really good job of getting them on board. I think that this team is deeper. I think this team's playing better softball this time of year. I think this team feels better in their bodies after a very long season, and I think that like Gibbs said, through the fall and through the start of season, we really had to fight to get where we are today and the softball that we're playing right now. And so I just think that we have so many more tools in our toolkit to kind of draw back on this weekend and as we move forward, hopefully. So I just feel like this team is way more seasoned and ready for it.
Princeton's only given up a few home runs this year, but
5.
y'all have...
Just 5.
Just 5.
That's incredible.
Y'all have hit 102, if I'm not mistaken. Just how important do you think that the long ball will be in this regional itself? You know, Wichita State also hits a lot. Oregon's 26th in the country in home runs.
Yeah, I think this regional has more home runs combined than any other by a long shot. I mean, it's definitely a huge part of 3 of the team's games, but it's also a huge part of Princeton's defensive approach is to limit the long ball. So I don't know that it's going to be something we can rely on. If numbers tell us anything, it's not going to be, you know. So that's where I really like that our team knows different ways to win. Just looking at the SEC tournament, our 3 games were very different. And this team doesn't just rely on one thing or one person or one area. And that's why I think they all have so much confidence.
Selection Sunday, you have 3 days to study up on 3 teams. This isn't your first rodeo, so what's your process for kind of learning everyone in the short amount of time you have?
Well, it kind of gets us back to our non-conference part of our schedule where we'll play 5 different teams in a weekend. And so you just kind of, you focus on their high points. You focus on their pitching. You focus on their offense. You make sure you're ready defensively for anything that they might do in their offensive approach, and you're ready offensively for anything, the pitches they might throw, the velo they might throw. But a lot of it, too, is just focusing on making sure we feel good and that we're taking care of us. We've put a lot of emphasis on Princeton because that's the most important game that we're playing. But also, showing a little bit of the other 2 teams just to make sure we have, kind of an overarching knowledge of what we're up against this weekend. So just kind of balancing that with also just making sure we're focusing on what we do and what we do well.
Non-conference play. I mean, that was all the way back in February, but does that help when you're playing a couple teams in a weekend and you have to do that again this weekend? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a softball mindset or mentality that you play multiple opponents, and so you get a good amount of that at the beginning of your schedule, and then you kind of settle into SEC play, which kind of gives you more of the feel of a super regional. So you get both of those experiences that you can draw back from.
Any more questions? Go ahead, CJ.
Hey, Coach, I asked the players earlier about Shanice Dust. Has she been in the batting cage recently?
Yeah, she swings it every day. She's a really good hitter, really good hitter. We actually always write our lineup so we have the opportunity when she pitches to hit if we need her to.
And I believe you said you were good friends with the Oregon coach.
Yeah.
Have you talked any, and was it any trash talking or anything?
No, you know me better than that. No, I think it was just on Sunday. It was like, okay, well, friends, see you soon. We were kind of hoping that we wouldn't match up. But I have just a ton of respect for all the head coaches in this regional, with Missy and Christy and Lisa. I think they're all really, really sharp, really strong leaders. They're all moms, which I like. But I've had interactions with them that just, and I follow their teams enough to know they do it the right way. And I just have a ton of respect for who they are as people and how they lead their teams.
You were talking about earlier, I think answering his question about why you felt like this team might be ready, to do well in this. Did winning the SEC and then win the SEC tournament kind of give you confidence in that? I mean, because not very many teams do that in any sport.
Yeah, we have a ton of confidence from that. We have a ton of confidence from being able to accomplish that. Not many teams, even our conference, do that. And we have some of the best of the best. We also have a ton of confidence that we won all our series in the SEC. We've had some games that weren't great, and then we bounced back. We had a ton of resilience and found a way to win the series. So there's just a lot of things throughout, the course of 50-some games that just set us up to be as confident as we can going into this weekend.
Any more questions for Coach Deifel? All right, Coach, thanks for your time.